Welcome to the Financial Rebellion podcast. I'm your host, Todd Romer. We started this podcast for two specific reasons. Number one, to inspire you to start a side hustle and make some extra income. Or perhaps take that side hustle and turn it into a full-time business, like some of our guests have done already. The second reason we started the podcast is because we're big fans of credit unions, and we have worked with credit unions around the country to help them drive awareness and new membership growth amongst younger generations. Frankly, with a credit union, you can do a lot of what we teach about money the Financial Rebellion way. So let's get into this episode of Financial Rebellion. Welcome to Financial Rebellion. This episode brought to you by the credit union industry. At Financial Rebellion, we're very big fans of credit unions, and we help them basically differentiate themselves big time from banks. A lot of people still don't know the difference between a bank and a credit union. And with working with a number of credit unions around the country, we can help many people become financially rebellious within the credit union world. So this particular episode, I'm very thrilled to have Katie Hustasa as the guest today, and excited to hear about your story of entrepreneurship. Katie, welcome to the Financial Rebellion podcast.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
100%. Before we get into learning about your business and how you started it, we always do the icebreaker, because Financial Rebellion is we help people think differently about money. We help people overcome their financial mistakes that we've all made, and we've made some good ones, to help them save, spend, and invest money differently and really dream differently. But the first icebreaker question is, tell me your worst money move that you made while you were young, or even as recent as this morning.
Todd, I'm deciding in my brain if I want to give you the true vulnerable answer, if I want to give you something that's easier to digest. But I think I'm going to just go with the real vulnerable one. So when I graduated college, I think a lot of people probably have this experience. You're kind of thrust out into the real world, and all of a sudden you're paying all of your own bills and you're managing your life completely on your own without your folks. And I had my first apartment, and at this time it was pre-automatic bill pay, before anything was really online, and they sent you actual paper bills in the mail. And I don't know what happened, because I had money in my account, but something happened where I got a bill and I thought, oh, I'll just take care of that later. And I put it in a drawer. And then I got another one. I was like, oh yeah, I've got the other one. I'll just put this one in a drawer too. And then I just kept not paying them. I just kept putting them in this drawer. And there was no reasonable explanation for this behavior, except I just didn't do it. And then all of a sudden it became this thing where I knew I had a problem. And the idea of having to deal with it was so uncomfortable to me that it was easier to just ignore it. And so I just kept putting these things in a drawer. And it led to really months of I wasn't sleeping well at night, because I knew I was avoiding this really big, scary thing. But again, the avoidance felt somehow in my head more comfortable than actually just dealing with it, because that was so scary. Until finally one day it just became too painful. I was so deep in this shame of what I had gotten myself into that I had to dig myself out of it. And so it was like a sunny, beautiful winter day, kind of like the one today. And I remember just pulling everything out of that drawer and opening them all. And within 6 hours, I had everything paid, everything was handled. And it felt like this giant gorilla off of my back. But what a silly thing to do as a young person. And it wasn't because I didn't know. I just got myself in a situation where it felt really scary and I didn't want to deal with it.
That's really not a unique one at all. I just love your vulnerability, because I will guarantee you 98.5% of listeners have some similar kind of story. just like
I
that.
mean,
So
yeah,
thank you for
I got it
sharing
all
that.
wrapped up. I got it all wrapped up in this money story about shame and what kind of bad human doesn't pay their bills. And it just at the time felt easier to ignore it. And as we know, a unopened bill in a drawer still is due. And so I definitely learned a very, very valuable lesson.
Yeah. No, that's so relatable for so many people in a different way with money, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what is your best money move that you made when you were young or as recent as this morning as well?
Um, Continuing to invest in myself. Every single time that I invest in myself, whether I'm investing in coaching or I invested in my master's degree in HR or I invest in certifications or I went back to school to become a coach and got certified there, it always has a positive ROI.
It's
Continuing
great.
to invest has been the thing that I think has always been the theme in my life, where it's a good money decision.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I can't hear of anybody's like, yeah, that training didn't really give me much value or yeah.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Thank you for those two worst and best money moves. Now we're going to get into your business. Uh, it's the first three letters, I assume, are your name, KMH Leadership Coaching and Development.
Yes.
And you didn't just jump into that like right out of college. Yeah, I got my degree. Let's start it at, I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm purely guessing, but tell us the journey that led you to start this
Mhm.
business and also share more about what you do, what it is, because there's a lot around coaching and development, of course.
Yeah, there is. So I'm a very reluctant entrepreneur. This is not something that I ever saw myself doing. I'm a worker bee. I'm really good at when people tell me to get something done, I will get it done and I will blow your mind. It will be very impressive. I'm a perfectionist and I always took a lot of my confidence and my self-esteem from how well I could operate and perform in a job, in employment. My background is in HR, and for almost 10 years, I worked for a publicly traded company running talent acquisition team. Um, and it was around my mid 30s when I had my first kiddo, and I was running this organization, and I was having a hard time mixing motherhood and leadership. I worked for an environment where it mattered how long the lights were on in your office. And a lot of face time was really important. The perception of how committed you were was how much you were at the office. And Todd, it's been a while since you've had newborns, but let me tell you, your newborns need you a lot. And my office needed me a lot. And I just felt like I was failing in both environments. And it was around that time that I thought, man, I want more say. I want more autonomy over what my days look like. And I want to continue to provide value in a work environment. I didn't want to not work, but I needed more control. And that's when I got the seed, the idea that potentially starting my own thing and having an impact outside of just what I was doing in a corporate environment. And it was a natural fit for me with the HR background, to go into more of a coaching and leadership development role. And so that's when I started my business. It's been 5 years ago now.
From HR to coaching, that probably resonates with a number of people listening in different roles that are one of the things we've always share with Financial Rebellion when it comes to taking risk and starting a side hustle or a business like you have is that there's always the mindset that you still need to have, even as an employee of a company, and you're not quote an entrepreneur. No, just think like an entrepreneur at your job, at your workplace.
Mhm.
And one, you have
Yeah.
two, there's only positive benefits, right? One is your boss or manager will be like, wait, Katie kind of works and acts like she owns part of this place. This is cool. We love that owner mentality. Or number two, like, wow, well, let's give her a raise. And hey, we want to give you more things. So it's like a bonus that way. Or, we better, Katie might leave. She's really good. She might start something similar. So speak to speak to some individual things that who you reach. So maybe some I'm purely guessing who your clients
Mhm.
are, maybe some executives of companies, maybe some business owners, right? So speak to who your clients are and how you've been able to help some of those with your coaching platform.
Yeah. Yes, all of the above. The vast majority of my clients are in executive management. That either they're directors, senior directors, they're business owners, they're in the C-suite. I work with already high performers, people who are excelling at what they do. They look great on paper. They have the big titles, and at the same time, something isn't sitting right with them. Maybe success doesn't feel exactly the way that they thought it would feel. Maybe they've hit a ceiling, or they've stopped having fun, or everything they do just doesn't feel like they're doing enough. They're not having confidence. They want to get to that next step and they don't know how to get there. And that's where I step in and I support that person build a life that feels uniquely and authentically their own. Um, there's a lot of stuff that gets on our way when we're going through our own leadership journeys. And some of that stuff is real stuff, i.e., I can't get a promotion. And some of it is imagined stuff, i.e., I'm an imposter. I don't belong here. And my job as a coach is to help people figure out what's going on and get them to where they want to go.
My guess is you here eventually get your clients to be very vulnerable with you. You just
Yes.
mentioned imposter syndrome, which that's a big part of humanity, right? So
Yeah.
tell us about some of those clients that you've been able to likely help overcome. What did they just release like 1,000 pounds from as you were helping them in that way?
Yeah. Yeah. They do. I want to be really honest. I've yet to work with a client who hasn't achieved what they hope to achieve in hiring me. Something really magical. There's some fairy dust that gets released when someone is investing in themselves in such a way where they are showing up weekly and they are looking at me in the eyes and saying, "This is what I want. The reason I want it is because this is what I want my life to feel like." And then every week they have to come and they have to say what it is that they did to work towards that goal or what it is that they couldn't do, and what got in their way. And having that type of accountability structure where they're working with someone one on one to really talk about what's happening and what that internal thought process is that's preventing them from having what they want makes them show up differently in their lives. And so, yeah, people come to me when they just are tired of feeling ick. And they tend to get what they want when they invest in themselves and really commit to this process. My clients get the next promotion, they start their business, they get pay raises, they leave companies where they were satisfied, or they get their dream jobs. That's what happens when they're investing in
That's
themselves.
great. That's great. Do not let me forget at the end to let people know how to reach you because
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
your values already clear within just 10 minutes of this podcast. You are underneath, you don't I'm guessing you don't say this, but underneath you are a therapist, you are a counselor, and you go by the guise of coach and developer. So we all need it. We all need it. My goodness, as an entrepreneur myself, the hills and valleys are real. The imposter syndrome is not something someone does. Hey, I can't wait to be an imposter this morning. No, they don't wake up
So,
wanting to be that. You sometimes that just enters in, uh, and it's all it's all worldly pressure that's we put on ourselves. Would you agree with that? A lot of it comes from within.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Like I said, there are real world pressures. There are external pressures that prevent people from having the experience that they want to have. And so I don't want to discredit that. But
Yeah,
so much of what gets in our way are the pressures that we put on ourselves and the internal thoughts, feelings, emotions of what we feel people are going to think or not think about us. And my job as a coach is to not tell people how to run their lives. I know nothing about other people's lives. I am not a consultant. I'm not an advice giver. My job is to ask really interesting questions that help people reflect on what's actually happening inside of themselves so that they can get out of their way. So much of what is in our way is our own internal stories about who we think we are.
Can we give an amen to that? I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Right, Todd?
So, so you triggered something in a good way many, many years ago when I uh, went to, I attended Al-Anon. And for those who don't know what Al-Anon is, it's just a it's a 12-step program for people who either had parents or close siblings that were alcoholics. And so I went to this program, and one of the mentors who ended up being what do you call that? A sponsor, right? Who kind of sponsored me was probably 25 years older than me. And he said to a table of about 10 people, he said, people don't care as much as you think they care about you.
Mm-hmm.
That blew me away. Like, people don't care. They have their own lives going on. They have their own story and problems and challenges. They don't care. As not that they don't love you or as a friend. No, they care, but they don't care as much as you think they care. So get that out of your head. So you just cemented that. Okay, so Katie, I'm doing a lot of guessing, and that
That's okay.
is
I'll correct you if you need
educated
it.
guessing. Educated guessing that maybe is it 100% of your clients are female?
No, actually, I have a mix. I
Good.
would say
That's cool.
when I initially started, I think you kind of attract what you know, especially as a coach. And so when I was first starting, a lot of my early clients were females, are females. But as my business grew, so did the way that I talked about it and my comfort level. And I'm realizing now because my business is 5, so it's still a toddler in a lot of ways, and it doesn't know exactly what it wants to be when it grows up. But I'm finding that just it's a human thing. It's not a female thing to have fear and to need someone in a support structure or an accountability structure to help you confront those fears on a daily basis. And that is not just something that happens uniquely with women. That happens with absolutely every single human on planet Earth. And so, no, I don't meet just with women. I do work with male executives, and I also have some clients who are younger, who are in college, and they're starting their lives, and they want support on how to get started in the right direction. So I see a variety of clients.
Great to hear. And the counselor that I see every few months, she is a woman, and I strictly wanted a woman to see
Mm-hmm.
because while we're obviously wired and created differently, right? Nurture mostly for women, right? And just generally better listeners. I did for that reason, and I bring her a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, both personally and some business too. So that is great to hear. Okay, so listeners who are, again, we have anybody from 18 to 55 or older listening, and we see it and hear it all the time on our speaking tour, the Financial Rebellion speaking tour, that they have. When I ask people, how many of you want to start a business someday? It's about 30% of the hands go up in a room of, say, 50. And then you
Mm-hmm.
know that it's a classic. Whoever 30% actually means add another 20% for people who don't want to just raise their hand. So
Okay.
half of people want to figure out, how can I create a side hustle? How can I own a business? You said you just have some younger folks, young men and women in their college age. What would you say to them to take that first step to looking at a side hustle from a skill that they probably know they have, but they just don't, I don't know, is it valuable enough? Can I monetize this? Speak to that a little bit
Hmm.
to help any young man, young woman, doesn't matter what age, just kind of get over that hump of, I can do this.
Yeah, I think in that instance, we really want to look at the fear that might be happening. I don't know for sure, but I suspect or I assert that anyone who is starting a business has some type of fear present about what might happen, whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection. And my biggest thing that I would say is just because fear is present or discomfort is present, that's not an automatic signal that you shouldn't do it anyways. So often, fear stops us from showing up in areas of our life because the discomfort just seems too great. And that's not always a sign that you shouldn't keep going, anyways. We can do a lot of things afraid. And I think you owe it to yourself to really have an honest conversation with whatever that fear is trying to tell you, and decide if that's a voice that you want to listen to or if that's a voice that potentially you want to turn the volume down on and go for what you want and really get connected to what's possible if we turn the volume down on the fear.
You described that beautifully because there's no way anyone says, "Oh, yeah, I'm fearless. I have no fears." It's part of being a
Yeah.
human being, and so you basically said you're going to bring fear with you. It's just how you deal with it. So that's it. Um,
Yeah.
love that. And the acronym I've shared many times, and it doesn't get old, is FEAR for me. And I heard it from the same gentleman at Al Anon and my sponsor, mentor, false evidence appearing real.
Hmm.
False evidence appearing real. 99.5% of stuff just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I like we're just a few minutes left
Are you
of the
serious? This has gone so
podcast.
fast.
I know. Well, we can go a little longer. Hey, I don't have a complete stop time. We are, again, Financial Rebellion, sponsored by the credit union industry, where we help credit unions say, yeah, this is different. We want the members in the community to say, why am I banking where I bank? And they look at credit unions to help them become financially rebellious. So, okay, let's talk a couple. Do you have a one or two, and not to get into any of your clients, things that you can't share, but can you share of an instance of a client you had that was such a fun win for you? Meaning, it just felt good to help someone overcome something, and look what they're
Hmm.
doing now. Just a kind of a cool, yeah, I'm sure you do. Just share
I
more of how
have.
that has happened
Yeah,
with
I have
folks.
so many, and it's hard to pick
I
one
bet.
because they're
Yeah.
just, Todd, this job, it is so cool. Legitimately, whether I'm working with somebody who has found a way to turn down some of that internal monologue that's telling them that they're not enough, or somebody that has gotten the job that they've always wanted, it is so fun to sit on this side of the table and watch people win. It is so empowering.
So fun. That's fun.
And it's funny actually. I have some pom poms
Hey, I was going to say,
in my desk
wait,
drawer
that's red.
that
Okay, that's
I
red
bring
and black.
out.
That looks like, do you have a Texas Tech background in you somewhere? That looks like
No,
their colors.
my kids, it's their school district, their colors are red and black, and so it's pom poms from their school
Nice.
district. And I bring them out to celebrate because there really is not a client that I have that isn't celebrating some type of win that where I don't get to acknowledge and to really help people get present to how wonderful they are. And sometimes it's in the little things where they got brave enough to have a conversation with their boss that they were worried to have, or the big things where they finally resigned from a job that was sucking their life out of them and they started their own thing. Whatever that looks like, every single one of those wins we get to celebrate. And they're all unique and interesting and fun and incredibly special. And that's one of the best things about what I do.
We also talk about small wins. So there's quite an alignment here. Financial small wins, like moving from a bank to a credit union. They actually made that move Hey, that's a small win. Don't just think that's no, and cheer. Almost, we don't have the pom poms yet, but maybe we should do that.
Maybe you should
Um,
do that.
I love that. Small wins are big. It's because you can't climb the mountain in a day. No, you don't want to do that. Get those small wins. Name your savings accounts. I tell you, this is an aside to this pod, not really an aside, but it's amazing what happens when people who don't know what credit unions can do for them, such as create multiple named savings accounts. Like we tell people, financial rebellion, right? That is a pretty direct name. Rebel against traditional
Hmm.
financial norms because it's not working. And one of the things we share that blows people away all across the country, Katie, is don't put all your money, get rid of your savings account. And they go, wait, what? Get rid of my savings account? That's crazy. Well, great. Go stick to the 76% of Americans that are struggling financially, living paycheck to paycheck, and keep doing what they do. And then so when they hear what I talk about, they go, oh, I can create a savings account and put $100 a month into travel savings account. Yeah. New
Hmm.
car savings account, car repair savings account, clothes and shoes, education savings. Yes, start naming your cash with multiple named savings accounts and never have an account called savings again because it'll kick your butt. Meaning,
Yeah.
so easy to take money out of a big pot when it has no name, has no purpose, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love what you said. Small wins keeps people moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, we got. Yeah, we could probably talk for quite a while, couldn't we? Uh, it's kind of at the point. It'd be fun to have like live callers. Yeah, we got a caller with a question, uh, but we don't have that yet. Uh, one of the last question I have, and you may have already answered it, but what would you tell someone though who was a caller that called in and say, "Hey, I'm 24, 25 years old. I'm in a job that I don't really like, and this is actually real. I just know it. I'm in a job that I just don't like. I think
Hmm.
I like to do X or Y. Like this woman who's close to 30 making 1,500 bucks a month selling something on Etsy because she's good at the skill. And someone said, put it on Etsy. Oh, try it. And then now she's got the belief she can do it.
Hmm.
What would you say to someone who's just a little bit like, I don't know. I'm just not happy at my job, but maybe I should start. What would be the first thing you would tell that person
Hmm.
as a small win?
The first thing I would just be really curious, right? Like this person is in a place where they're feeling some anxiety about what the future looks like. Change is scary, change is hard. And right now they're wrapped up in, am I really going to leave this sure thing for this thing that's very unknown? And they're hearing a lot of, I don't think I should do this in their brains. And what I would do is I would want to know what becomes possible on the other side of going for it. Right now they're stuck in I'm scared, and I want to know, what does life look like a year from today if I had a magic wand and I could wave all of your fears away and you've done the thing and we're a year from now, what does it feel like? What's possible for you? What's present that wasn't present before you went for it? What fun things does are happening in your life that weren't happening before you decided to do this? I want to get a rich experience for them so that they can get present to what is possible when they are investing in themselves.
Well said. Katie, an absolute pleasure to have you on the Financial Rebellion podcast. Keep on keeping on and kicking butt and impacting lives. And we all need it. We all need encouragement. We all need a counselor. We all need a 12-step program. I said many times, like, wait, this is not for anybody can go through 12 steps and get a ton out of it. And part of that is encouragement. So thank you for that. And I hope all our listeners and viewers have got a lot of impact from Katie. Katie, where can they find you too before we head out?
Yeah, website, kmhleadership.com or Katie at kmhleadership.com for an email. So please reach out. I'm also on all the socials. Would love to hear from anyone.
Great. Katie Hustasa on the Financial Rebellion podcast. Again, we are thankful for all of our listeners and viewers, sponsored by the credit union industry. And we look forward to seeing you and maybe having live conversation with some callers, if you will, down the road with Financial Rebellion. Have a
Wouldn't
great
that
rest
be
of the
fun?
week wherever you are. Thank you, Katie, for being on.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks for the invite.